Welcome, rare gems. Sometimes the woman who seems hardest to understand is simply the woman who refuses to betray herself. There is something fascinating about the Sigma female. She can be warm and guarded, caring and fiercely independent, traditional about certain values, while completely unconventional about others. That is why calling her simply a good girl or a bad girl misses the whole point. Her goodness may come from a genuine conscience, not from trying to appear perfect. Her rebellious side may not come from wanting trouble, but from refusing to follow expectations that conflict with what she believes is right. She can say no and still have a huge heart. She can love someone deeply without allowing that love to become control. She can enjoy beauty, romance, and tenderness while still protecting her freedom. She can make mistakes, learn from them, and become wiser without pretending she has always been innocent. And perhaps that is why you may recognize yourself as Sigma. You are not necessarily defined by being distant or mysterious. What matters more is your ability to think for yourself, examine what you believe, and make choices that actually reflect your values. You can be both soft and strong without apologizing for either side. So if these contradictions sound familiar, stay with me until the end. The deeper we go, the clearer this fascinating paradox becomes. And if any of these 12 points describes your personality or experience, share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective may help someone else understand themselves better. Don't forget to subscribe and join our community. There is always more to discover about the mind, personality, and the unusual ways we experience life. Now let's get started. The rare gems. Number 1. Her morality is personal, not performative. She can be extremely principled without being obsessed with looking virtuous. She may do the right thing and never tell anyone. A Sigma female often has a very different relationship with morality. She does not always need people to know that she is a good person. In fact, one of the clearest signs of her character is what she does when nobody is watching. She may return money that was accidentally sent to her. She may defend someone who is being treated unfairly even when that person cannot do anything for her. She may keep a private promise for years without reminding anyone that she made it. She does not necessarily turn every decent action into a public announcement. That is because her morality comes from inside. She can have strong principles without needing applause for having them. And this is where people sometimes misunderstand her. She may refuse to participate in gossip, manipulation, fake friendships, or dishonest behavior. But she may not give everyone a long explanation about why she walked away. Her answer might simply be, "That is not who I want to be." But there is another side to this. Her personal morality can make her look rebellious. Suppose everyone in her social circle considers a certain behavior normal, but she believes it is wrong. She may be the one person who refuses to participate. Suddenly, people may call her difficult, judgmental, or strange. Yet she may not be trying to judge anyone. She is simply unwilling to betray her own conscience just to make other people comfortable. That takes courage. Being good is easy when goodness earns praise. The real test is what you choose when doing the right thing costs you something. Sometimes it costs friendship. Sometimes it costs an opportunity. Sometimes it means standing alone while everyone else is laughing at the person you quietly decided to defend. This is one reason Sigma females can feel misunderstood. Their goodness is not always packaged in a sweet or predictable form. They may have a rebellious edge, but their rebellion often protects something deeper, their principles. And if you are a Sigma female, remember this. You do not have to prove your character through constant explanations. Let your choices speak. A strong conscience does not need a microphone. Number 2. She can be soft without being easy to control. This is where people misread her badly. She may be compassionate, affectionate, patient, and surprisingly gentle. But softness is not surrender. There is a big difference between being soft and being easy to control, and this is one of the biggest things people misunderstand about a Sigma female. She can have a gentle heart. She can listen when someone is struggling, check on a friend who is having a difficult day, forgive mistakes, show affection, and give people more chances than they probably deserve. She may even be the person others call when they need honest advice, because they know she will listen without making everything about herself. But kindness does not mean unlimited access. This is where the misunderstanding begins. Someone experiences her patience and assumes she will tolerate anything. Someone receives her forgiveness and assumes they can keep repeating the same behavior. Someone sees her caring nature and mistakes it for weakness. Then they cross a line. Suddenly, the woman who was patient becomes firm. The woman who used to explain herself stops explaining. The woman who gave several chances decides there will not be another one. And people may ask, what happened to her? Nothing happened to her. They simply discovered the part of her kindness that had boundaries around it. For example, a Sigma female might forgive a friend for cancelling plans once because she understands that life happens. She may even forgive it twice. But if that friend repeatedly disrespects her time and only appears when they need something, she may quietly step away. She does not need revenge. She does not need a dramatic confrontation. She simply changes how much access that person has to her life. That is emotional maturity. Real softness is not about allowing people to walk over you. It is having enough compassion to understand people while having enough self-respect to recognize patterns. So if you are a Sigma female, never feel ashamed of your gentle side. You do not need to become cold just because someone took advantage of your kindness. Keep your heart soft, but keep your boundaries clear. The goal is not to become harder. It is to become wiser about who deserves your softness. Number 3, she can be more innocent than she looks and more experienced than she appears. Her appearance, confidence, or independence may cause people to project assumptions onto her. One of the strangest things about a Sigma female is how easily people can create an entire story about her without actually knowing her. Because she carries herself with confidence, makes her own decisions, and may have a strong personality, people sometimes assume she must have seen everything, experienced everything, and become completely hardened by life. But that assumption can be completely wrong. There may be a surprisingly playful woman underneath that serious exterior. She may laugh at silly jokes, get excited about small things, enjoy harmless teasing, and become genuinely fascinated by something as simple as a good conversation, a beautiful place, or a song she loves. She can have a side of herself that is almost childlike in the best sense of the word, not childish, but capable of wonder. At the same time, she may understand human behavior far better than people realize. She can notice when someone's story does not add up. She can recognize when affection is being used as manipulation. She can understand why someone suddenly becomes extra friendly after needing a favor. Yet she does not necessarily expose every observation she makes. That combination creates an interesting paradox. She can know more than she says while still remaining genuinely curious about life. For example, imagine someone meeting her at a social gathering. They see a woman who appears composed, independent, and difficult to impress. They might immediately assume she is emotionally unavailable or has become cynical about relationships. Then, during a private conversation, they discover that she is actually deeply romantic, enjoys playful conversations, and still believes people can surprise her in beautiful ways. The difference is that experience did not completely destroy her innocence. It taught her where to place it. And that is wisdom. A Sigma female does not have to choose between being experienced and having a soft, playful heart. She can learn from painful situations without allowing them to poison every future experience. So if people misunderstand you because of how you carry yourself, remember this: you are allowed to be complicated. You can understand the darkness of human nature and still appreciate the goodness in people. That balance is not confusion, it is depth. Number 4, she can be the woman who says no and still has a huge heart. Her refusal isn't necessarily evidence of coldness. Sometimes no is exactly how she protects what she values. There is something people often get wrong about a Sigma female. They assume that a woman who says no easily must have a cold heart. But sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes her ability to say no comes from caring deeply about her peace, her responsibilities, her relationships, and the kind of person she wants to remain. She may genuinely care about people and still refuse to rescue everyone. She may love a friend and still say, "I cannot do that for you." She may appreciate someone and still decide that a relationship is not healthy for her. She may receive an attractive opportunity and turn it down because the price attached to it would cost her more emotionally than it would give her financially. That is not cruelty. That is discernment. Think about someone who keeps agreeing to help everyone. At first, she feels useful. People praise her generosity. But eventually she becomes exhausted, irritated, and quietly resentful. She starts wondering why nobody notices how much she is sacrificing. The Sigma female often learns to recognize that trap. She understands that a forced yes can eventually become an angry yes. And an angry yes can damage a relationship far more than an honest no ever could. For example, a friend may ask her to attend an event when she desperately needs time to handle personal responsibilities. Instead of inventing an excuse or showing up while secretly feeling bitter, she may simply say, "I cannot make it this time, but I hope you have a great time." There is maturity in that. Her no does not erase her compassion. It protects the quality of her yes. When she chooses to help, love, support, or commit, she wants it to come from sincerity rather than guilt. She would rather disappoint someone briefly than make a promise she cannot honestly keep. So if you are a Sigma female, remember this: having a good heart does not require you to have unlimited availability. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself and others is to tell the truth before resentment tells it for you. Your no can have love inside it too. Number 5, the ultimate paradox. She can be safe for the right person and intimidating for the wrong one. This is a strong final point because it captures the entire bad girl, good girl paradox without reducing her to a stereotype. The deeper idea is that the same woman can feel completely different depending on what someone brings into the relationship. A Sigma female can be remarkably warm with someone who treats her well. When she feels respected, she may become playful, affectionate, funny, and surprisingly easygoing. She can tease you, laugh with you, remember tiny details about your life, and make you feel genuinely understood. Her independence does not prevent closeness. In the right relationship, it can actually make the connection healthier because she is there because she wants to be, not because she feels trapped into staying. But the wrong person can experience something very different. If someone repeatedly lies to her, manipulates her, disrespects her boundaries, or treats her kindness like an unlimited resource, she may eventually stop trying to make the relationship comfortable for them. And this is where people sometimes get shocked. The same woman who once explained herself patiently may suddenly become brief. The woman who used to give another chance may decide there will not be another one. The woman who once tried to understand every excuse may simply look at the pattern and walk away. That does not necessarily mean she became cruel. It means she stopped carrying responsibility for someone else's comfort. For example, if a person keeps insulting her and then says, "I was only joking," she may eventually stop arguing about whether the joke was funny. She may simply decide that she does not want that kind of person close to her. That is the ultimate paradox. Her warmth is real, but so are her boundaries. Her loyalty is powerful, but it is not unconditional permission to mistreat her. And her willingness to leave can be intimidating because she understands something many people learn painfully late. Access to a good person is not the same thing as ownership of that person. For the right person, she can feel like peace. For the wrong person, she can become the boundary they never expected to meet. Number 6, she has a good girl conscience and a bad girl appetite for freedom. She may genuinely care about consequences, loyalty, and treating people fairly. One of the most fascinating contradictions in a Sigma female is that she can have a deeply responsible heart while still having a powerful desire to live life her own way. She may care about loyalty. She may think carefully before hurting someone. She may feel genuinely uncomfortable when she knows she has treated somebody unfairly. If she gives her word, she can take that promise seriously. But none of this means she wants her entire life planned according to somebody else's expectations. This is where people can misunderstand her. She can be the woman who remembers her responsibilities on Monday and suddenly decides on Friday that she wants to take a spontaneous trip, learn something completely new, or try something outside her usual routine. She can love her family deeply while still needing a life that belongs to her. She can care about relationships without wanting every decision examined and approved by other people. Her conscience says, "Think about the consequences." Her appetite for freedom says, "But make sure this is actually your life." And both voices can be right. For example, she may be offered an opportunity that looks impressive on paper, perhaps a job that pays more or gives her greater status. Everyone around her might tell her to accept it. But if the position requires her to become someone she does not respect, she may walk away. People might call her reckless, but she may see it differently. She is not rejecting responsibility. She is refusing to confuse responsibility with living according to someone else's script. That distinction is important. A mature Sigma female does not use freedom as an excuse to hurt people or avoid consequences. She understands that real freedom includes responsibility. If her choices affect someone she loves, she considers that seriously. But she also knows that being a good daughter, good partner, good friend, or good person should not require her to abandon her identity. She wants to be decent without becoming trapped by the need to please everyone. She wants love without losing ownership of herself. She wants responsibility without surrendering curiosity. And perhaps that is the real paradox. Her rebellious side does not destroy her goodness. Sometimes it protects her from becoming a version of good that was never truly hers. Number 7. She can be extremely feminine without performing femininity. She doesn't necessarily need to imitate a stereotypical strong woman either. She can enjoy softness, beauty, romance, and tenderness while still maintaining an uncompromising internal identity. One of the most misunderstood things about a Sigma female is that people sometimes assume independence must come with emotional hardness, as if being strong means she has to reject softness, romance, beauty, or tenderness. But that is not necessarily her reality. She can be deeply feminine without turning femininity into a performance. She may enjoy dressing beautifully, taking care of her appearance, receiving flowers, being affectionate with someone she loves, or enjoying a quiet evening with a person who makes her feel safe. She can appreciate being cared for without becoming dependent on being rescued. That distinction matters. Her femininity is not something she uses to convince people that she is feminine. It is simply part of how she expresses herself, and she does not have to prove her strength by constantly acting tough. For example, she might spend an afternoon choosing an outfit she feels beautiful wearing, then spend the evening discussing business, finances, personal goals, or difficult life decisions with complete seriousness. There is no contradiction there. A woman can love lipstick and still understand boundaries. She can enjoy romance and still have her own plans. She can appreciate a man's strength without surrendering her judgment. She can want affection without needing someone to complete her. This is where the Sigma female can become difficult for people to categorize. Some expect an independent woman to reject anything traditionally feminine. Others expect a feminine woman to be more accommodating and easier to influence. She does not have to choose either side. Her softness belongs to her. Her ambition belongs to her. Her tenderness belongs to her. Her strength belongs to her. None of these qualities cancels the others, and perhaps the deeper lesson is that femininity becomes much more powerful when it is chosen rather than performed. She does not have to become harder to prove that she is strong. She does not have to become colder to prove that she is independent. She can remain warm while making serious decisions. She can love deeply while keeping her identity intact. If you are a Sigma female, remember that strength does not require you to abandon the parts of yourself that are gentle. You can be soft and still have standards. You can be romantic and still be discerning. You can be feminine and still belong completely to yourself. That is not a contradiction. That is freedom with a feminine face. Number 8. She can break the rule without breaking her values. Most people associate rebellion with having no rules. Hers can be the opposite. There is a kind of rebellion that comes from wanting attention, and then there is a kind that comes from having a conscience. The Sigma female can belong to the second category. People often assume that someone who questions rules must be irresponsible. But sometimes she questions a rule because she has thought carefully about what that rule is actually protecting. She may respect rules that keep people safe, protect fairness and create order. But when a social expectation starts demanding dishonesty, unfairness, or the loss of her identity, she may refuse to follow it. That can confuse people. For example, imagine everyone in her workplace knows that a colleague is being treated unfairly, but nobody wants to speak because the person responsible is powerful. The Sigma female may decide to say something. She understands there could be consequences, but remaining silent simply because everyone else is silent may feel worse to her. Someone might call her difficult. She may simply believe that keeping quiet would make her part of something she considers wrong. That is the difference between rebellion and principle. Rebellion says, "I will break the rule because I do not like being told what to do." Principle says, "I will question this rule because I need to understand whether following it is actually the right thing." The Sigma female can sometimes look rebellious because she refuses to confuse popularity with truth. She may refuse to attend an event because the people involved have repeatedly treated someone badly. She may reject a family expectation because it requires her to sacrifice something deeply important. She may walk away from a relationship that looks perfect to everyone else because she sees something behind closed doors that nobody else sees. And people may wonder why she cannot simply go along with things. But going along with something has never automatically made it right. Her challenge is learning to distinguish genuine principles from personal stubbornness. Not every rule is oppressive, and not every disagreement means she is morally correct. Wisdom requires her to question herself too. That is what makes this paradox interesting. She can be rebellious without being reckless. She can challenge tradition without disrespecting people. She can reject conformity without rejecting responsibility. Sometimes, breaking the expected rule is not an act of rebellion at all. Sometimes it is the price of remaining faithful to what you believe is right. Number 9. Her niceness has an expiration date. She can tolerate a remarkable amount before reacting. This sometimes creates the illusion that she will tolerate anything. She won't. Her kindness can have a surprisingly precise expiration point, and once it expires, the person who abused it may suddenly meet a completely different woman. One of the biggest mistakes people can make with a Sigma female is assuming that her patience has no limit. She may tolerate a lot before saying anything. She may overlook a rude comment, forgive a careless mistake, give someone another opportunity, and quietly observe a pattern that other people have not even noticed. Because she does not react to every little thing, people can start believing that they can keep pushing her forever. That is where they misunderstand her. Her patience is not permission. Sometimes she stays quiet because she understands that people make mistakes. Sometimes she gives another chance because she genuinely believes someone can do better. And sometimes she simply wants to be absolutely certain that what she is seeing is a pattern rather than a single bad moment. But once the pattern becomes undeniable, something changes. For example, imagine she has a friend who repeatedly borrows money and promises to return it, but never does. The Sigma female may forgive the first incident. She may listen to the explanation the second time. She may even help again because she believes her friend is genuinely struggling. But eventually, she notices something important. The problem is no longer the money. The problem is the lack of respect. At that point, she may stop lending altogether. She might not insult the person, expose them online, or create a dramatic scene. She may simply close that particular door, and the person may suddenly say, "You have changed." Sometimes what changed was not her heart. What changed was their access to it. This is an important lesson because kindness without boundaries can eventually turn into resentment. A person who constantly gives while silently suffering may eventually become bitter. The Sigma female learns that protecting her peace does not require becoming cruel. She can remain compassionate without remaining available to mistreatment. She can forgive without repeating the same mistake. She can understand someone's struggles without allowing those struggles to become an excuse for disrespect. So if you are a Sigma female, do not feel guilty for reaching your limit. Your kindness is valuable precisely because it comes from choice. Give generously when your heart says yes, but remember that even a generous heart is allowed to close a door when someone repeatedly refuses to respect what is behind it. Number 10. She doesn't need to be innocent to be good. This is one of the most interesting contradictions. There is a strange expectation placed on women that being a good woman means being completely innocent, predictable, and easy to understand. The Sigma female can quietly challenge that idea. She may have a rebellious side. She may enjoy experiences that other people consider unconventional. She may have strong desires, unusual opinions, or a personality that refuses to fit neatly into traditional expectations. She may even make decisions that surprise people who thought they had already figured her out. None of that automatically makes her a bad person. This is where people often confuse morality with reputation. A respectable image can be carefully maintained while someone behaves terribly behind closed doors. At the same time, a woman can have a complicated past, make mistakes, take unconventional paths, and still possess a genuine conscience. For example, she might have made a serious mistake in a relationship years ago. She does not pretend it never happened. She studies what she did, accepts her part, and becomes more careful with people's feelings afterward. That mistake does not excuse what happened, but neither does it mean she is permanently defined by it. Goodness is not the absence of mistakes. It is what you do with the truth about yourself after making them. A Sigma female may also refuse to pretend that she has no desires simply because other people are uncomfortable discussing them. She can acknowledge what she wants while still understanding responsibility and consequences. That distinction is important. Being innocent means having limited experience or knowledge. Being good means having a conscience. Those are not the same thing. She may understand manipulation because she has experienced it. She may recognize betrayal because she has survived it. She may understand temptation because she has faced it. Her awareness of these things does not automatically corrupt her. Sometimes experience actually gives a person a clearer understanding of what they never want to become. So if you are a Sigma female, do not let someone convince you that having a complicated personality makes you morally confused. You are allowed to have layers. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to outgrow old versions of yourself. You do not have to appear innocent to have a good heart. Character is revealed by what you choose, especially when you have enough freedom to choose otherwise. That is where the real difference between being respectable and being genuinely good becomes visible. Number 11. Her bad side often appears when someone tries to own her. She can cooperate willingly, she can compromise, she can accommodate another person's needs. But ownership is different. There is a major difference between loving a Sigma female and trying to own her. She can give affection freely, compromise for someone she cares about, and make genuine sacrifices for a relationship. But the moment love starts turning into possession, something inside her begins to resist. This is where her so-called bad girl side can suddenly appear. She may happily tell her partner where she is going because she wants to, not because she has been ordered to report her movements. She may consider his feelings when making an important decision because his feelings matter to her. She may even change a habit for the sake of the relationship. But there is a line between consideration and control. Imagine she has always enjoyed spending time with her friends. Her partner occasionally joins them, sometimes stays home, and sometimes simply trusts her to enjoy herself. That relationship can breathe. Now imagine he begins demanding passwords, questioning every message, deciding who she can speak to, and becoming angry whenever she makes plans without him. At first, she may try to explain herself, then she may try to compromise. But if the behavior continues, her attitude can change dramatically, not because she suddenly stopped caring, because she recognizes that the relationship is no longer asking for closeness. It is asking for ownership, and that is something she may find extremely difficult to tolerate. A Sigma female can accept responsibility for how her choices affect someone else. What she struggles with is being treated like property whose freedom must be negotiated. There is wisdom in understanding this distinction. Healthy love creates connection without erasing individuality. Two people can build a life together without one person becoming the manager of the other's existence. Her independence does not mean she wants to live without love. It means she wants love that leaves room for both people to remain whole. So if you are a Sigma female, remember that your desire for freedom is not something you need to apologize for. At the same time, protect that freedom with maturity. Independence should not become an excuse to disregard the person you love. The healthiest relationship is not one where nobody needs anybody. It is one where two people choose each other freely, again and again, without either person needing to possess the other. Love should create belonging. It should never require ownership. Number 12. She doesn't always want the nice guy or the bad boy. She may actually be searching for something much rarer, a psychologically safe person who is not psychologically weak. The Sigma female may eventually realize that the choice between the nice guy and the bad boy is a very limited way of looking at relationships. She's not necessarily searching for the man who is endlessly agreeable, nor is she impressed by the man who creates chaos and calls it confidence. What may actually attract her is something much harder to find: a man who is emotionally secure enough to be gentle and strong enough to stand on his own. Because there is a difference between kindness and weakness. A man who agrees with everything she says may seem pleasant at first, but eventually she may wonder whether he actually has his own convictions. She does not need someone who disappears inside her personality just to keep the relationship peaceful. At the same time, arrogance is not strength. A man who constantly needs to dominate conversations, control decisions, or prove that he is the toughest person around may eventually become exhausting. Confidence that needs constant demonstration often hides insecurity underneath it. What can genuinely stand out to her is emotional stability. For example, imagine she has a difficult day and becomes quiet. A psychologically secure man does not immediately panic, accuse her of losing interest, or demand that she explain every emotion on the spot. He can give her room while still letting her know that he is available when she wants to talk. But if she's wrong about something, he can also tell her respectfully. He does not become frightened by disagreement. That balance matters. She may want a man who can be affectionate without becoming dependent, protective without becoming possessive, confident without becoming arrogant, and emotionally available without making her responsible for his entire emotional world. That kind of man does not need to act like a bad boy to appear masculine, and he does not need to become a people-pleaser to appear kind. He simply knows who he is, and perhaps that is what makes the Sigma female paradoxical too. She may have a rebellious spirit, but deep down she may value emotional safety more than emotional drama. She does not need someone to tame her. She needs someone mature enough to walk beside her without trying to own the direction of her life. In final words, your character is not defined by how easy you are to understand, but by what you choose when life gives you difficult choices. That may be the heart of the Sigma female paradox. She can be gentle without being fragile. She can be rebellious without being reckless. She can love deeply without allowing love to erase her identity. She can make mistakes without becoming a prisoner of her past. And perhaps most importantly, she can have a strong conscience without turning her entire life into a performance of perfection. That is what makes this personality so fascinating. The Sigma female does not fit neatly into the idea of a good girl or a bad girl, because real people are rarely that simple. She has desires, boundaries, flaws, principles, curiosity, and contradictions. She can choose softness one day and firmness the next, depending on what the situation requires. If you recognize yourself in these qualities, understand that being different does not mean something is wrong with you. Your ability to think independently, question expectations, and still care deeply about people can be a strength when you learn to balance it with wisdom. Just remember that independence needs responsibility, freedom needs self-awareness, and strength needs compassion. You do not have to become colder to become stronger. You do not have to become harder to prove that you are Sigma. Your greatest strength may be learning how to remain completely yourself while continuing to grow. That is the real paradox. You are not good because you are perfect, and you are not rebellious because you are difficult. You are Sigma because you are learning to live by principles you genuinely understand, rather than simply becoming whatever the world expects you to be. And God bless you the rare gems.